Hey, what's up, you guys? So, today I fell down a dark hole in almighty YouTube because every time I return from work and I'm unwinding, I just get in there, I take a look at the comment section just to see what you guys are saying. And then there is this page where you can see what's happening on your home screen on YouTube, and somehow it randomly suggests content to you. And some of it is from years ago and whatnot. And my first question is, uh, why am I recommended so much trash? But then I think about my activity online and I'm like, you know what? I have been reading a lot of relationship articles just because I had a colleague who was asking me some bizarre questions that are on the personal aspect. So I'm like, this is what we concurred, but let me go on my own time and do some research. And that's how I ended up on this hole, I guess, to where now YouTube is recommending garbage to me. But, anyways, so in the description of this video, of this stream, there is a link, and that link is of the video that I watched that gave me the idea for this stream. So I would recommend that you look at it at some point. So I'm just going to do this straight from memory. But to give you a synopsis on this video, it's pretty much this couple who there's a guy who was originally married to some woman, and this woman was also a performer in the adult film entertainment industry, whatever they like to call it, fancy terms. And then he himself was also a performer. And then eventually, like 4 years later or so, they ended up breaking up. But prior to that breakup, this guy had met this one lady who was just freshly getting started in the business. And then, just like life has many turns and twists, they ended up finding each other again. So they ended up getting married and having kids. But then they were pretty much discussing what their relationship is like, given that they are both adult performers. And basically, the lady is saying that she withdrew from her job despite being the primary breadwinner, or like her income was far superior to his because he pretty much asked for it. Like, he was like, baby, I get jealous that you do this and that. And then it's like the double standard. Why isn't it there? It's like he was asking for her to stop doing that, and then she did. But for some reason, it's okay for him to continue doing that. And I couldn't help but be like, what? So, in a situation like that, my opinion is going to be kind of complicated because, first of all, I would not do porn, not even for all the money in the world. And then the lady at least admitted that she would not turn down the opportunity, because she was pretty much set for life. Like, in part of the interview, she was like, people were telling her that she could have done anything career wise, but then she ended up choosing that. And people have like this really negative view, taboo on this whole intimacy deal. And really, I feel like that's part of the reason why modern relationships are suffering, because people simply are not doing much, like not exploring much. And maybe entertainment itself is what's making people just not be looking at the matter in an exciting way. But, anyways, I'm just rambling now. Um, but I would not be a porn star. I will never be a porn star. I can guarantee you that. You can put me to the test all that you want. I am not doing that. And it's because I treat intimacy with so much respect. And I really like to wait until the right time and the right moment and treat it seriously, because it is a serious matter. It's not just, you're just rowing on someone and this and that. I look at the act as I will perform it if my intention is to actually reproduce. But at the same time, I understand that there is like this bonding that it can help with when it comes to a relationship and how it can strengthen it. So it's not necessarily, oh, I'm gonna get the deed done because I'm ready for that baby, you know? It's not like that. Like I am interested in performing the act to become closer to a man, right? But at the same time, while I was watching this interview, I was kind of disturbed because that's my opinion, my personal opinion, how I conduct my life. And then this lady is admitting that by her doing that, she had a huge income. She has a lot of money in the bank now and extra. Her retirement plan is all saved up and everything. And I'm like, okay, good for you. You accomplished it when it comes to society. You are considered a successful person. You live in a pretty nice house, a pretty good neighborhood. You can afford to have your child. You have time off. You don't have to work another day for the rest of your life. You know, that is an ideal situation to be in. But is that the best way for you to go about it? Of course not. But then again, when it comes to that act, it's not really something negative. It's not something bad. You're not murdering someone. You're not beating someone up. You're just having intimacy. You're just doing the act, you know? But but for me personally, the way I conduct my life, I do not agree with that way to accomplish success. If she's okay with it, if she can, if that doesn't disturb her or like alter her peace of mind, good for her. I applaud her. Like, I would love to have her status, which is I do not have to get up at fucking 5 a.m. in the morning to go somewhere that I really do not enjoy being at much anymore, doing something that's not really fulfilling. And I also come out hella tired. I do not have medical coverage. I am getting by, you know, like my paycheck is enough to afford the expenses that I regularly incur, such as, you know, electricity, car insurance, and all that. And fortunately, I get to split some of that with my mom. You know, what a privilege she's living to where she is, you know, up there and she's not in my situation where you sometimes if you lose your job, that's it. You know, for me, if I were to lose my job, it's like, oh wow, what am I gonna do? You know, I need to do something to you know not lose the little bit of stuff that I have and the comfort that I have right now because I can say I live comfortably. I have a shelter, I have food in the refrigerator and in the pantry. I have, you know, I have the essentials. But but the way that she went about accomplishing that, I cannot say that I would partake, even if it guaranteed that I would have a life changing experience. Not even if it were once, not even if it were for like a year and then I have this huge income. I just cannot do it. It interferes with um, my mind, my I guess my spiritual side as well. And like I said, I just have so much respect for this deed that I want to respect it. I also would not like to be associated with someone who goes around messing with guys and guys mess with me. You know, I'm not comfortable with that. I don't want to create that kind of a precedent for me to where whoever I'm dating is gonna be looking at me like, no matter how much you deny this, you know, is gonna be looking at me like, oh yeah, you know, my girl spends time with other guys and that's how she makes her money, you know. So to be in a situation like this couple where she is no longer working in that industry but the guy is still working in that industry, it's like how does he have a right to keep working on that stuff just because he gets jealous? And then why is the lady okay with that? It's like, no, if you had me give up my career, you should give up your career as well. Um, of course, it doesn't mean that they need to stop working altogether, but to me, it's kind of strange that I have to give up something and then he doesn't have to give up something. It's kind of weird because I would not stand it if my man is with another woman, period. So I would expect for my man to not be okay with me spending time with another man, period. Hold me accountable for it. So that's what I would do in a situation like that. It's like, no, if we're married, this is it. We cannot be doing this thing to where we're just, even though it's just business, and he kept emphasizing it's just business, it's just business. Well, your wife, that was her job too. It's just business. So why do you have an issue with getting jealous that she's doing all this? But then what if she would get jealous of you doing all that? She is trusting you when you say that you can just separate your mind to where you're engaging in the deed, but you do not think of it as anything else but business. To me, it just bothers me. For me personally, it bothers me. But I guess in their case, it doesn't really bother them because their social status is different. And on top of that, this dude's ex lives right next to them with their children. Like, to me, that would be a major slap in the face. It's like, I do not want my husband anywhere near her ex. Like, it's weird because I guess I should explain my jealousy. I am a jealous person, but my jealousy is not really insecurity that I'm not good enough. My jealousy is more of because I love my man so much, I'm like, I want to spend every single minute of the day with you because I love you. You make me feel great. I have so much fun with you. We have good times, etc. So I'm jealous that someone else gets to have you. Like if you have a job to where you have to, drive to get to it, it's like, okay, I'm jealous of the people in the office who you're going to be with or whatever you do because they get to be with you and collaborate with you while I don't. That's my type of jealousy. The I miss you. I'm jealous of anyone else who has you and I don't have you type of jealous. But it's not like, I'm insecure. So I'm thinking that girl is so much prettier than me. So therefore, my man totally wants something with her. No. I'm not like that. I'm not the possessive kind of jealous. But when it comes to this video, I was disturbed because I felt like this was being normalized, and I'm like, no, I cannot agree with you having a job where you engage in intimacy so like casually, regularly, and then you come home to me, we have a married life, and I'm supposed to think that this is normal. No, especially with like my special way of looking at it, like my standards when it comes to looking at it. No, I don't think that's normal. And no, I don't think it's right. And even less, I don't think it's right that you're living next to your fucking ex. You know? So yeah, no, I can't do it. So yeah, guys, that pretty much sums up what I have to say on the matter straight off my head. So let me see what you guys are saying. Hello, Angelo. Porn star reality TV. Feel so sorry for those kids. Exactly. And then that's something else that they mentioned in the interview. They were like, oh, the day will come when we will have to explain to our kids what we do because the kids know that we produce content, but they don't know what kind. And I'm like, of course, because you cannot immediately tell a child that that's what you do because it's inappropriate. So why would you put yourself in that situation? And they kept saying, "Oh, I fear the day when the day to have that conversation comes, etc., etc." And I'm like, the best way to prevent disaster is, or the best way to deal with disaster is to prevent it from happening. So how about if you don't do something that you have to be incredibly embarrassed about, that you cannot even share with your children, or let alone that you would encourage your children to follow that path? Because it's like, imagine if my mom were telling me, you know what, Zam, when you grow up, you need to be the next, triple X, whatever. Especially since, you know, um, you have a nice body and this and that. And I'm like, no, I would like to follow a better example. How about that? I would rather just do what my dad does, which is be a pilot, even though I cannot fly a plane, not even to save my life. But you see what I'm saying? If you are clearly you cannot have that conversation because you cannot really be proud about what you're doing. So how about if you just avoid that situation in the first place and you save your kids the trouble and possibly embarrassment because you're trying to normalize this behavior when it's not normal. But then when they grow up, it's like, oh yeah, this is what my parents would do. They may think like me. They may be incredibly reserved on the manner and probably even like just call me old fashioned or just call me whatever. But I like to respect the act so much. So to treat it just casually, like, oh yeah, it's perfectly normal for you to be married and then have multiple partners, but it's just business related. No, that's not normal. Just no. No, no. I am very close minded on this matter. Zamri's a porn star. This I gotta hear. Well, this is probably one of the few times when you hear those words in the same sentence. So enjoy yourself while you're here. But yeah, no, not happening. They probably cannot bond emotionally, desensitized. Exactly. I'm glad that you mentioned that, V, because while I was watching the video, I'm like, I don't sense any couple chemistry. It seemed like their bond was more physical than anything, but I cannot imagine them having an emotional conversation. Maybe they do. I mean, we're not them. We are not living in their home to know this. But I'm just so close minded on the matter, man. I'm just waiting for my husband and for my man, and I reserve the act for that. And it's not easy because sometimes, you have your physical stuff going on and you want to act on it. So I guess these people have no issues with acting on it just so casually and all the time, but for me, I'm just incredibly reserved and I cannot see myself being okay in a relationship like this. And yeah, I did sense like they were desensitized because the new wife of this dude, she was like, she just didn't really know how to defend him for still being in the business despite her having to withdraw because that's how he felt like and he can somehow keep the job and that's okay. So I would expect that they would both sit their asses down and be like, you know what, honey, I think it's time that we reconsider our careers and do something that's a little different, something that we do not have to necessarily hide from our kid, for example, because this new couple, they have a child of their own. And like, at least what I liked is that they do not keep this child from interacting with their other siblings. Um, like in my situation, I have two more brothers, but they're all from my dad, and we could not grow up together because the differences were severe. And even though my mom tried to integrate us, their mothers would not allow us to really hang out and be together, so we could not really bond on a sibling level. So I was happy to see that they live next to each other and it's pretty harmonious. But what if we only saw harmony because the cameras were rolling? What happens when, you know, if ABC is doing this, they probably show it in a sensational way. But maybe the truth of it is, it's not all, flowers and dandelions. You just cannot, you know, just let's roll with it. Let's roll with it. Um, Pierre Solis is greeting me with hearts. Hello. It's just different strokes for different folks. I guess you're right. Zam, tell us about your spiritual side. About a year ago, I made a video entitled Spirituality and Religion. Um, that would be a better thing to reference because I could really ramble on that one. And I'm trying to challenge myself to stay on track. But yeah, pretty much summed up is I don't really have a religion, but I do have my weird spirituality stuff going on to where I do believe in a like greater being, but my perception of it is a little different. So I would encourage you to check out that video, spirituality and religion vlog. Let's see. I couldn't be engaged to a porn star not because of the career choice, but because I never want to get married again. I see your point. And I guess when it comes to marriage, once it fails, it can be pretty discouraging. My mom never married again, and she said, I am not interested. And I'm like, sometimes I feel like I shouldn't get married myself. And I have had the fortune of at least, is this true? I want to say it's true. My memory is kind of foggy right now, but I think two of my boyfriends were like, I am not interested in marriage. And then um, one of them has been like more or less. And then the other one is like, hell yes. And I'm like, what? It's kind of confusing. Just like with kids, I'm more undecided than anything. I know that I like to say, hell yeah, I want to be a mom, but deep down inside, I'm like, am I right for the job? Can I handle it? Can my body handle it? Can my husband handle it? And then reality just starts hitting you. So I don't know, guys. I On the note of marriage, I guess stay tuned, and maybe it will happen or maybe not. But if it doesn't happen, I ain't tripping. But at the same time, I would like for it to happen because I do believe in the commitment aspect of marriage, But at the same time, I don't need for a piece of paper and the government to tell me how to handle being in a relationship. I think I can do that all by myself, you know. So, but at the same time, a part of me wants to get married just to have, how can I say this? Most marriages presently are failing. I feel like I can become a statistic of my marriage does not fail. But at the same time, if stuff is going wrong in my marriage, I do not want to be stuck to that relationship to live up to my I don't want to get divorced no matter what. We're going to make this work and then I'm miserable. Because I have done that before. I have stayed in relationships where I was fucking miserable as shit, you know? But I'm like, no, I do not want to say my relationship failed. Something about that, it just leaves me feeling, ugh, I can't handle it. I have some issues going on, guys. You just bear with me. um, I can send my pic for your wall. It's funny that you mentioned that because I've been meaning to make a video asking you guys for permission if it would be okay with me taking like a picture of your Abby's and then posting them here because there's some of you who I consider my outstanding um, people when you leave your comments. So I'm like, yeah, there's definitely people who I would like to see up on this wall. So yeah, you guys let me know what you think about that. If I get a lot of votes on that, then I'm definitely gonna make it happen. But it's funny that you mentioned that because I was thinking about posting like a couple just to see if you guys would spot yourselves and then be like, oh, Zam, what am I doing in your wall? And then I'm like, yeah, because you make me laugh and you make me have a good time and you always support me. Da 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 da. So, yeah, yeah, definitely. Sadly, I think it could lead to their children being harassed by their peers, which is not really a good thing at all. Angelo, good point. Because I thought about that as well. I'm like, the last thing that I would want for my peers to know is that my parents are into that. And not only that, but another side to the bullying could be what if you're a product of a relationship where your mom, something went wrong during production and you ended up being pregnant, and then your daddy is trying to act like he's your daddy, but he ain't really your daddy. That would fuck with my brain so much. Like, I'm finding out that I am the child of another man who I will probably never see again, because for my mom, that was just business. And I'm like, what if my mom doesn't even know who she got pregnant by? You know, an anxious mind comes up with a lot of fucked up things. So I'm just glad that doesn't apply to me. I'm just saying. It would be a horrible situation to be in. School's hard enough without a porn star parent. Good point. Good point. I could never be in that situation. I don't know what else needs saying in regards to others. I would normally shrug and say to each their own. But asking your wife to stop while you don't, hypocrite. Exactly. Good point. Hi, Zemri. Hi, Jordan. I have. Okay, I hope this means I'm still recording. But anyways, I haven't dated a porn star, but I dated a stripper. It didn't last because she wanted more. What? I'm so confused. What happened to my stream? Anyways, it didn't last because she wanted more to be married. I was not jealous. I visited her at her job before. Oh, yeah, that would be so awkward. That would be incredibly awkward. Zamri, you're so gorgeous. I would love to see you do BDSM. Ha 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 ha. Sounds like you're not really in love with this person. Yeah, there's no way I could call that being in love. Just no, no, no. I did love my stripper girlfriend's hair probably more than her body. I bet she had long hair. Okay, marriage is fine. The thing is to make sure that you're marrying the right person and work at communication regularly. I'm so glad that you mentioned communication because it is such an important thing. There's just no way that a relationship can succeed with terrible communication. Been there, done that. So, yeah, that's a good thing to mention. Bearded Viking. I don't have any problem with you posting my image if you want. Okay, count on it. Permission granted on the picture thing. All right, awesome. So that's good to know. I will make sure that I remember you guys, visit the stream, check who you are, and I'll have a picture somewhere around. Do something different. But yeah, you guys, although this performing porn stuff is just, I guess I can look at it like acting. And I remember a time when I wanted to be an actress and I was pretty serious about it. This was during my early high school years, late middle school years. And then I looked at it in the long run and I said to myself, I can do this only in the first few years of my life. And then if I end up being committed or married or something, that would have to be the end of this career because at some point there's going to be those scenes where you gotta get physical, and I'm like, would I like to watch my man going on someone? No. So I will not put my man through that. So it's kind of weird. I guess you just have to figure out on your relationship what is okay and what isn't. I guess there are couples out there who really trust on their partner blindly and they don't give a damn about stuff like this. And I'm just in my own little world, close minded and intolerant. But I could not do it. So that's really part of the reason why I gave up on my acting pursuit. Because I just felt like it would eventually interfere in my life. But if someone else does it, it's like I don't want to penalize them for it, but it would bother me. So for situations like this where my partner does something that I don't approve, I just tell him, don't tell me about it. Don't let me find out about it. Don't invite me. Don't let me hear about it. Because what my heart and ears, sorry, what my eyes and ears do not hear and do not see, my heart cannot feel. So, if I don't find that about it, I'm not going to have that aching feeling. So yeah, I like to I wouldn't like to have a guy give up something just to be with me. I'm like, I'm not competing. So if I find myself in a situation where there's a guy who wants to be with me, but there's another woman who's after him, I'm like, I'm withdrawing my application to be your girlfriend. I am not competing. I don't compete for jobs. I don't compete for men. I don't compete for anything. So it's just not my nature. So in a situation like that, I would be like, I don't want to get in your way. Your career was with you before I was. Bye. I'm not dealing with that. I just am not, you know. So you don't have to make a choice. I'll make it for you. While acting, can you do voices or accents? What's your range? Um, Honestly, with voices, I can make sounds, I guess, some very specific sounds. Some sounds I can recreate to perfection. I have thought about making a video, but I didn't think that's something. Um, it comes under special circumstances. It's not something I can do on command. It's like the moment happens and then whoop, it comes out. But to like ask me to do an impression of something, it can't happen like that. It has to happen spontaneously. But yeah, I'll work on it. I'll try to like piece together a video where I do an impression or a sound or an accent of some sort, and then you guys will get the feel. But when it comes to acting, I just like the idea of just not being me for a little bit. It's like um, they call it escapism, like you just escape your bubble, your personality, and then you look at a script and I'm like, yeah, I can take the shape and personality of this person. So let's go for it. That fascinated me because as you can see, I like to sit here and tell a story. One day I have a specific attitude about it, but what I like about what I do here is that I don't have to exactly act, but I do feel like you can relate to me or at least hang out with me because you find it intriguing enough. I don't have to really exaggerate a story, but my personality aids it. So, um, when I thought about acting, I felt like I don't really like fiction, so I don't like to deceive the audience. It's like, no, if I'm having a role where I'm a murderer in real life, I am clearly not a murderer. So I don't want to be associated with that. See what I mean? So I am not going to take on the character of something that I would not condone. So if I'm going to get a role in acting, it would have to be something that I can get behind. Did that make sense? If it didn't make sense, I'll try to rephrase that. But yeah, yeah, that's what I mean. That's why I could not be an actress because I was pretty much compromising my opportunities before I even had them. um, yeah. Let's see. Where did I leave off? Speaking of porn stars, did you see that Germany has been talking about having government subsidize feminist porn to break down stereotypes? No, I have not. Pornography is acting, a lot of it is over exaggerated and can lead to desensitization in the act becoming less scared for lack of a better term. You know, that too. Because I understand that graphy, it's in the word, like it's written, produced, scripted. Because it's a job, you just don't know how long it's going to take to produce content. So you gotta keep retrying something until you get that perfect shot. It's like, I mean, just how many different ways can you like hit it before you get the right angle and the right shot and the right pace, whatever the hell it is that directors are looking for in movies like that? Yeah, no, no. That's one of the wrongest things I have said in this channel. But if I'm going to produce content, how about if I make content that's useful. I'm the exact opposite of you when it comes to competition. I love to win and I would hate to lose. See, I understand that I have what it takes to compete. I can be quite the foe. But when I think about life, I'm like, man, it's just too short to be stressed out or to be having to prove myself or competing to come out winner and then I show myself as someone who is outstanding and you know I was able to beat someone for a mate or for a job or something. That does not satisfy me. That does not make me feel um, fulfilled. I guess it could make me questionable because it's like, you would not fight for your man or something. You would not fight for advancing in your career or something. It's not that. It's just that, how can I say this? I'm not obsessive like that. I understand that I'm not going to be the prettiest. I'm not going to be the best at anything. Like someone is always going to be better than me. And I do not want to create an obsession with, no, I am going to train forever to have the perfect body for guys to pick me up more or something. It's just weird. Me trying to wrap my head around a competitive mindset, I just cannot do it. That's part of the reason why I didn't go to college either. When I was in school, there's the competition for you to be valedictorian and shit. And I'm like, why? I mean, if that fulfills you, good for you, but you cannot expect for my values to go hand in hand with yours. So, so I guess I could be that person, that girl who intrudes other people's relationships or something, and then I steal your man. But I'm just not like that. I like to just, if it corresponds to me, it will come to me. I don't have to force it. I feel like when you compete, you are forcing something. At my job, I have had people who get a position and it pretty much seems like they bullshitted their way to success. I can say that I did not do that. So if I were to compete for, say, a man, I feel like I would have to have some artifice to me to like impress him and then increase my odds of him choosing me. I'm like, no, I'm not something you have to earn. I don't feel like that. I don't feel like I'm an object. I look at it as an object. So I don't know. I don't know. It's what makes me feel happy and peaceful. So I'm not giving up that mindset. Maybe when I get older, I will stop caring so much, and I may end up being competitive and being, hungry for more. But I just nah. It just ain't. Um, yeah, it just ain't for me. Us men need to send money on players. Spend money on Players Club 1998, Ice Club film, movie comedy tells nothing but the truth about strippers. Classic movie, the movie cost $7.99, not $900 on Real Strip Club. Well, if that's the case, we all know that we only live once. Maybe give it a shot and see what you learn from such an out of this world like relationship could be really, really interesting. Hi, Zamri. How are you doing? Happy Wednesday to you and everybody, and blessings. Hello. Sorry, my spelling sucks. People shouldn't have to compete for their partners. It's a partner, not a prize. Exactly. How do you feel about sex bots? I feel like it's going to benefit people out there, but it's not something that I would personally have. Because there's a lot of people who do not feel fulfilled in relationships and they have a lot of frustrations, I can see how this will become like the new norm. If that's what people want to do, okay, but I would not like for that to occupy my time and effort to where I am forgetting the skill of actually bonding with another human. I am not afraid of bonding with another human. Just saying. And then if I look at it from the mechanical perspective, it's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure that I can have this robot turned on for like, I don't know, 5 hours a day and it'll totally keep doing me and it doesn't have to take a break like maybe a guy has to, like everyone's stamina is different, I would imagine. So it's like you can set this robot to do what's right for you for extensive periods of time. But how about if you are someone who demands a lot of like action and attention consistently? How about if you make it a goal to train with your partner to make that work for you? You know, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Um, I think the movie Pretty Woman could really happen, so maybe I could trust and marry a lady of the evening. Julia Roberts really wanted the man, not what he had. When life imitates art. Yep. Zamri, women need to be like you, the coolest in you. You are cool. Thanks so much. I appreciate that. Zam, what's your take on this North Korea stuff going on? To tell you the truth, this is going to sound like I'm a terrible citizen, but I have not really been keeping up with it. But I will say this, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, roast me if you want to. I'm here to learn. But something that bothers me is how Obama kind of had this plan to meet up with leaders from another country that's like we have a tough relationship with. And then he was being portrayed as someone who was not being wise about what he was doing. And then suddenly Trump does it, and it's like, yeah, Trump is taking that step. He's daring to meet up with this North Korean guy. And yeah, what courage, what patriotism, this and that. And I'm like, you were criticizing Obama for wanting to do just that, but then Trump does it, and why? And that's why I want to question the aspect of why do we think that we need to be bipartisan when it comes to the government? Like, if our vote really counts like it's supposed to, how about if we start redirecting those votes? Because we are stuck with there's the good old Democratic Party and then the Republican Party. And I'm like, why does it have to be that way? If the point of elections is to elect our representatives, how about if we elect people who are more like us? So that's why I'm saying, how is being bipartisan effective, an effective form of going about choosing officials? That's just me. I am not an expert in politics. I do not know a whole lot about this, so please be gentle with me. But but yeah, I just there's a lot of things that I don't get, and I should be more involved to aid my understanding, but I get frustrated easily and I have stuff to do with my day, stuff that I would rather be doing, people who I would rather be with. So I'm like, I know that me choosing to be ignorant is doing more harm than good, but you just don't know what's going to happen in life. I've made my choices already. I know what my goals are, and whenever the problem is in my face, that's when I'll do something about it. It shouldn't be that way. But every time I sit on my little car and I come back home and I think about all the times that I could not have made it, I'm like, I need to be wise about how I spend my time. So, so I do not spend a lot of time keeping up with politics like I should as a, you know, responsible citizen. That's part of your duties and your responsibilities. But seriously, I come off work tired to come home to look up trends on stuff that's equally as stressful and depressing. I can't handle it. I admit it. Can't handle it. Um, so yeah, let's see. How about movies of love scenes? Sorry, are you asking me how I feel about those, or how I would feel about my partner engaging in that? Jordan, that was you who posted that. You are welcome. Don't be a terrible citizen, Zam. Oh, I am a terrible citizen. Like, I'll be the first to admit it. There is an interesting flip side to this coin, too. I have worked with, for, and around sex workers of various types, and they find it difficult to find decent personal partners. Yeah, I would imagine so. It doesn't count, it's all bullshit. Random question: do you sing or play any instrument or something? I play the keyboard and thus the piano. And I was training my voice a few years back, but I graduated, so I did not have music classes anymore, and I do not have a coach. I don't know what I'm doing. I cannot sing to save my life. I'll be the first to admit it. But I can do pretty well at imitating sounds. I just have issues with intonation. Like my pitch accuracy is just not there. And my teacher, she did say, Zamara, you have a major pitch problem. But then I was like, you know what? Maybe I just am tone deaf, or like I cannot distinguish pitches very well. Like I can hear the different notes and everything, but I just told myself, you know what? Just forget about it. Just don't worry. I don't need to be a good singer to be happy. So yeah, keyboard. I guess I can say voice a little bit because voice is an instrument. And then I tried learning the guitar by myself and I just could not do it. I don't know what I'm doing. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I tried the flute a long time ago, but it did not go well for me. I just did not have the lung capacity for it. But yeah, I'm perfectly happy just messing with the keyboard. Um, so yeah. Are you referring to Iran? A lot of people have their reservations on that. Me personally, any move toward peace is commendable. However, the road to peace can be a rough one. Definitely. And see, think of it is, let's think about the origin of this country. It took a major ass revolution for us to get to where we are at. So countries that have stuff like um, shoot, what's the term? Where a family is governing for many generations, whatever. Um, it takes a revolution to make change happen. But of course, that's something that people wouldn't like to go through in their lifetime. I know that from time to time, when I reflect on how my life is like and how it used to be for other people in different points in history, I'm like, I was born in a pretty privileged time. Don't get me wrong, present days do have their challenges. Just because I look outside my window and there's not, this war exchanged shots going on doesn't mean that there's peace. But we have made progress. I can say that much. And in this country also, um, you know, anyone can go anywhere. Whereas back in the 60s, that used to not be possible. Like, where based on your appearance, you would be deemed as unacceptable in certain places. So we have definitely progressed some. And of course, there's still work to do, but what can I say? Um, yeah, what can I say? Just be a good overall person, good all around person. Just just do it. Let's see, where did I leave? Some of that judgment was racially motivated. The rest was based on Obama's poor performance. What is your favorite music artist? Well, I want to say that my all time favorite vocalist is Emily of Evanescence. and she also composes her own stuff. And yeah, anytime anyone asks me what my favorite music is, I always say that. I'm like, my favorite vocalist is Emily of Evanescence. And then when it comes to a male artist, there's a lot. I wouldn't know what to tell you on that one, but I know that if I need motivation, if I need like a piano style to reference, I always say Emily of Evanescence. Um, so, but yeah, yeah. Honestly, my music taste is so broad. Sometimes I take time to get on YouTube and look up people who make their own music and they're not really that popular. And I have found so much good music. It makes me wonder just how much good music has been made that because it's not mainstream, I never get to hear it. I never get to find it. Um, and then I think about the stuff that I have made for myself, and I'm like, you know what? No one knows about the stuff that I make. So I'm pretty sure that someone out there would find what I make amazing. Just like the unpopular folks whose channels I have found, I'm like, oh, I love your work. Why are you not known better? So I guess in a situation like that, you have to take the matter into your own hands and search a bit. But yeah, I have found amazing music, and I'm always messaging the people asking them if they have like a download link, or if I'm really hyped about it, I offer to PayPal or something. But they're always like, no, I do this for the love of the arts. You ain't gotta do that. Here you go. And they send me the file. So, but yeah, a lot of my music collection is that. It's just people like us, average people, just making stuff. And I happen to find it. And then I have it. So, yeah. Let's see. You are a legend. Your comment humbles me. That's cool, Zambri. What's your favorite astronomy celestial body of or feature? Hmm, planets? Maybe you should put yourself up on SoundCloud or something. I've considered it, but because I do not dedicate much time to music, let alone practice, I just when it comes to music, it's like my art. The art that you see on my walls is stuff that you can recognize. Like you can see Solid Snake drawings, you can see Cass Miller drawings, you can see Pokemon drawings. That's stuff that you can recognize. But when it comes to art that comes straight from my imagination, it's something that I like to keep for myself. It's like when I design birthday cards. For every person whom I have made a birthday card to, that design was exclusive for that person. I never repeat it. I don't even take a picture of it to remember what I did. It's like when it's happening, it comes out, I produce it, I send off, and I never deal with it again. So, same thing with music. I make something, if it's remarkable enough for me, I keep it. But sometimes I record it and I listen to it until I get fed up with it, and I'm like, if I make this, I'll know how to play it. If I ever want to hear this again, but I pretty much let go of stuff. Um, I'm not as much of a hoarder when it comes to that. So yeah. Well, you guys, I believe that I have rambled on for quite some time and I made my point across on the original topic of the stream. Don't be surprised if I come back in about an hour or so to actually discuss what I meant to discuss because, like always, I end up just rambling forever. And yeah, at the beginning of the stream, I was mentioning how I was not having a very good time the past 3 days. I was not feeling too well physically, but at least I have overcome that. So I'm here to stay, like always. I'm always going to come back here for you guys. So, yeah. And any of you guys who catch up this stream later, you know what to do. Let me know your thoughts and comments. It's always a pleasure to read from you guys. You got great insights going on. So yeah, keep it coming. All right, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you soon. Wait, I think someone commented something else. Let me see what you said. I feel bad about ignoring. My boy Jimmy, you have arrived late. Or have I been ignoring you? I'm such a terrible person. I obviously missed a lot, so I'll have to come back and listen from the beginning. Ah, exactly. That was part of my outro. All right, guys. See you soon.